A fancy restaurant with a stunning night view. My dear Alex opens a small box. Inside is a ring adorned with diamonds. I gasp, and he smiles gently at me. Will you marry me? Yes! I can't help but tear up at the dream proposal. The ring he slips on my finger sparkles as it catches the light. It's a bit too elaborate and not exactly my style, but I'm so touched he chose it for me that I can't stop admiring it. I'd love to take that ring from 6 months ago me and hurl it with all my might. Don't be deceived. It wasn't Alex who chose that ring. It was his mother, who loves him more than anyone. I am Sophia. I'm a nurse in the obstetrics and gynecology department of a major hospital. I have to admit that the work is hard, but the moment a baby lets out a baby's first cry is a feeling I wouldn't trade for anything. The relationships at work are great, and I enjoy my days there. Before I knew it, I was in my late 20s. I started to feel the pressure to get married. That's when I met Alex, 5 years my senior, at a party a friend threw. Being with him, always smiling and gentle, helped ease the stress of my job. He worked in government, which was perfect for me, wanting to continue working after having kids. I was upfront with him about wanting to keep working, and he supported me, saying it would help him out if we both brought an income. I was drawn to him, but there were some things that nagged at me. On the day of our first anniversary, I arrived at the cafe to find Alex in a suit, holding a bright red bouquet of roses. What's with the? Because today is a special day. Sophia, meeting you a year ago was the best thing in my life. Thank you for coming into my life. Thanks. I take the bouquet with a forced smile. I love flowers and appreciate the gesture. But a bouquet is cumbersome at an amusement park where we were planning to go, and the suit is out of place. I wanted to say something about it, but couldn't bring myself to ruin his kind gesture. So, I ended up spending the day at the amusement park, conspicuously out of place with a man in a suit and a bouquet. Yes, Alex's sense of style and common sense were somewhat unique. He said we were going to a fancy restaurant, so I dressed up, only to be taken on a winter beach walk to pass the time before our meal. For my 29th birthday, he gifted me a teddy bear as tall as me, even though I have no interest in stuffed animals. Even on ordinary days, Alex tries to give me designer gifts or insists on paying for everything. I'm not interested in designer stuff, and since I earn about the same as him, I've told him we can split the bill, but he won't budge, saying, I'm the man. But I'm not even into the designer stuff he picks out, and it just ends up being too much for me. When I've talked to friends about it, feeling really stuck, they just say things like, are you bragging? I just want to make you happy. Hearing that makes me feel like I'm the one being unkind. His lack of taste or common sense isn't hurting anyone, and there's no doubt he's kind to me. So, when Alex proposed to me at a fancy restaurant with a ring that was totally not my style, I was still happy and didn't hesitate to say yes. But I should have faced the discomfort I felt at that moment more squarely and questioned it more. When I visited his apartment to meet his parents for a marriage introduction, his mother greeted me with the biggest smile. Sophia, nice to meet you. I've been wanting to meet you for so long. Oh, hello. Come in, come in. I bought a cake from the department store because I thought we could eat it together. I had been nervous, having an impression that most mother-in-laws traditionally don't get along with their daughter-in-laws, but I was taken aback by her enthusiastic welcome. Alex just smiled and watched the two of us. The cake his mother had prepared was loaded with fruit, and even the plates and the cups filled with tea looked expensive. Facing my stiffness, his parents spoke kindly to me, and it was clear they were genuinely happy about the marriage. I thought to myself, I can make it work with these people. Feeling warmed by the atmosphere, I reached for my fork to eat some cake. Seeing the ring sparkling on my left hand, Emmaelle's eyes also sparkled. That ring is just lovely, isn't it? Do you like it, Sophia? What? I was clueless and stunned, and Alex chimed in with a smile. Mom and I picked out that engagement ring together. Oh. choosing an engagement ring with his mom? I couldn't keep up with Alex's astonishing statement. Mother-in-law, mistaking my shock for joy, kept dropping bombshells. The roses for your anniversary, the suit, even the teddy bear for your birthday, I advised him on all of it. See, he's smart and kind, but not used to dealing with women. So, I told him everything that would make a girl happy. She rattled on as if recounting heroic deeds. Listening to her, it seemed like she knew all about every date we had, like it was all an open book. Stunned, I looked at Alex, who was nodding along to his mother's stories as if reminiscing. Accepting this as normal, I almost wondered, is it common for a boyfriend's mom to meddle this much? But then I saw father-in-law, looking utterly baffled next to mother-in-law, and snapped back to reality. Catching my eye, father-in-law grimaced and scolded mother-in-law. Mom, that's going a bit too far. I'd understand if Alex was in middle school, but he's 35. Oh, Dad. A child is always a child to their parents. A mother needs to guide them. No. Sophia, you don't like it either, right? Having your boyfriend's mom interfere with everything? No way, right, Sophia? If I hadn't advised him, Alex wouldn't have been able to plan those wonderful dates or even propose. Right? Sophia. You think so, don't you? I wasn't strong enough to push away her when we first met, her eyes gleaming with too much enthusiasm. Oh, well. All I could do was force a smile, my lips twitching awkwardly. Everything I thought Alex had carefully considered for me turned out to be orchestrated by his mother. That realization made my enthusiasm plummet. I started to wonder if marrying this man was really the right decision. My heart was filled with unease, but having already agreed to the marriage, it was hard to back out now. I tried to tell him to stop consulting his mother about our relationship, but he seemed completely unable to understand. Instead, he accused me, Mom is just trying to make you happy, Sophia. That's pretty cold of you. Of course, work had to get insanely busy right when I wanted to push the wedding planning off a bit. But Alex and his mother kept moving forward with plans for a wonderful ceremony, ignoring my pleas. Even when I desperately told them I had my own wishes, he wouldn't listen, saying, Mom said girls love surprises. Reluctantly, I tried to get her to listen to my preferences, but she dismissed them, saying, it's best to leave these things to the marrying family. Don't worry, we'll make it a beautiful ceremony. It felt like I was talking to an alien. Then, the day before the wedding, Alex and his mother showed up at my workplace and practically dragged me to City Hall to file the marriage certificate. I was nearly forced into becoming part of that family. And then came the nightmare of the wedding day. The family introductions and the ceremony went smoothly, and we moved on to the reception. The gifts and special touches Alex and his mother had thought up were a bit outdated or too lavish, but I could deal with it. Just as I was starting to relax and left the hall for my dress change, the MC announced something unbelievable. Now, following the bride, the groom and his mother will also leave for a quick change. What? I did a double take, something I'd never heard at any wedding I'd been to. There was my mother-in-law, happily holding my husband's hand, walking out of the hall. Noticing my stare, she winked at me before disappearing into the dressing room. I was hurried into changing into my evening gown, expecting to re-enter with just my husband. But no, it was the three of us. Instead of the bride, it was his mother who was arm in arm with the groom. And instead of her black formal dress, she was wearing an evening gown the same color as mine. In front of the stunned guests, she proudly showed off her dress. I was helping Sophia choose her dress and just couldn't resist trying one on myself. Then, my son said, "Why don't you wear one too?" Oh, I'm so blessed to have such a thoughtful son and daughter-in-law. My husband patted her back, looking pleased with himself. As the atmosphere turned bizarre and all eyes turned to me in silence. No. Ignoring my disheveled hair, I shook my head frantically. The reception went downhill from there, with a karaoke session led by her and a never-ending series of letters from the groom. Father-in-law looked as surprised as everyone else by the plans of his wife and son, helpless to stop any of it. After the reception, guests gave me sympathetic looks as they took their party favors. My parents told me I could always come home if needed, their faces solemn as they left. Father-in-law, looking exhausted, escorted the groom's relatives who had traveled from afar. Oblivious to everyone's reactions, Alex and his mother were still in high spirits after the ceremony. It was a lovely ceremony, wasn't it? All our planning paid off, Alex. Thanks to Mom, it's a wedding nobody will ever forget. Yeah, a wedding where the mother-in-law changes outfits is definitely unforgettable. Next week, Alex and Sophia are off to Europe for their honeymoon, right? How wonderful. I've always wanted to see the Arc de Triomphe in Paris once in my life. Mother-in-law daydreamed about the beauty of Paris. Yeah, Paris is a dream. As I thought this, detached like it was someone else's life, Alex casually suggested the unthinkable. Really? Then, why doesn't Mom come with us? What? What is this man talking about? I glare at him, thinking, that's not how it's supposed to go. But my look doesn't seem to register with my flower-headed husband and his mother. Really? But I wouldn't want to intrude on your honeymoon. She glanced at me hesitantly. Of course, you should come, Mom. Your important family. Right, Sophia? Absolutely not. The idea of husband's mom tagging along on our honeymoon is just unthinkable. Absolutely unthinkable. I tried to contain my desire to scream right then and there, attempting to stop this with a reasonable objection. But we booked everything as twins, adding another room for your mom now might be difficult. Oh, is that so? But I really want to go. Can't we make it work? She persisted, looking disappointed yet hopeful. Then, Alex said something even more ridiculous. Sophia, can't you just let Mom have this one? What? He should know I've always wanted to go to Europe, with all the travel books lined up on our shelf. He's willing to trample over his wife's dreams just to make his mother happy? No way. This is an important honeymoon. Right, Sophia? You owe it to Mom, don't you? The wedding was wonderful thanks to her. I want to use this chance to show my gratitude. Alex. The two of them exchanged dreamy looks. Their attempt to be considerate felt more like making me the odd one out, and something inside me snapped. Ah, forget it. This man never really cared for me for my sake. It was all done under his mother's instructions. He might be the best son, but the thought of building a home with such a man makes my skin crawl. Go ahead, have the honeymoon and your precious son. If being a part of this family means getting divorced right after getting married, so be it. Please, go ahead, the two of you. When I told them in a monotone voice, their faces lit up clearly. What? That's so generous of you. No, I can travel anytime. I smiled brightly, and they seemed moved to tears. Choosing you, Sophia, was the right decision. Thank you, Sophia. Alex and I will enjoy it. What would you like for a souvenir? I don't need anything. Just have a great time. Sophia, thank you so much. Could you look after Dad while we're gone? Alex, with flushed cheeks, gripped my hand tightly. I showed him a benevolent smile, making sure he knew his feelings hadn't changed. The next day, father-in-law, looking pale, rushed to my workplace. Sophia. What's going on? Mom's saying she's going on the honeymoon with Alex, which is crazy. And you've agreed to it. I took the flustered father-in-law to a quiet lounge and explained yesterday's attitude from them and my intention to divorce. He hung his head in shame. I'm sorry. I knew Mom doted on Alex, but I never imagined it would go this far. I want to leave too. What? Oh, no, don't worry about it, Sophia. It's not because of you. Mom and I have never agreed on how to raise children, and her financial habits stuck in the bubble era have caused endless conflicts. I've been putting up with it until Alex got married, but this is too much. That makes sense. No reasonable person could accept their wife and son's behavior. If father-in-law is also thinking of divorcing, that makes things simpler. In that case, Dad, how about we give them a bit of a surprise together? I whispered a plan for revenge to him. A week later, mother-in-law and Alex left for a 10-day honeymoon in high spirits. After seeing them off, father-in-law and I moved out separately. We then changed the locks on the family apartment and handed the new keys to a certain individual. 10 days later, a radiant mother-in-law and Alex returned to the apartment. Father-in-law and I watched secretly from the neighbor's apartment as they tried to enter. The key won't work. What? Mother-in-law twisted the key in confusion. Strange. Maybe we should call Dad or Sophia. Alex pressed the intercom. Then, a nearly 2-meter-tall foreign man slowly appeared from inside. What? Hello, can I help you? What? Alex and mother-in-law looked up at the man in shock. Who are you? I'm Chris. I've come to the status to study. To become a cowboy. Chris? A cowboy? Why? Where's Dad? And Sophia? This is my parents' house. I am Chris. I aspire to master lariat as a cowboy. What's going on? Wait, this is my parents' house, isn't it? Alex looked confused as he checked the nameplate. Instead of green, there was a piece of paper clumsily labeled Morgan. Mother-in-law was panicking behind Alex, trembling at the sudden appearance of a large foreigner. What? What's going on? Where's my house? I'm Chris. I enjoy guns. Want to see? What? Ignoring the frozen pair, he actually brought out a vintage handgun from inside. Eek. The terrifying combination of an unfamiliar foreigner, his large physique, and a sword drained the color from Alex and mother-in-law's faces. I want to try using it. What? Is it okay? Test shooting, no bullets. What? It's okay, just a little. No! As Chris aimed the handgun toward Alex, he screamed and ran away at full speed. He didn't even look back at his mother, paralyzed with fear. Alex, wait, my back. Granny, are you okay? Oh no! Just spare my life, please! Mother-in-law, crying and dripping with snot, crawled away in terror. After ensuring the two were gone, Fael, the neighbor's wife, and I emerged, trying to hold back our laughter. Oh, Sophia! Good job! Holding a handgun-like prop, Chris began speaking fluently in English. Thank you, Chris, for going along with this charade. Not at all, glad I could help. Chris smiled, showing his pearly whites. He was my junior from high school's track team. He's been in here since he was a child, so his English is fluent. Recently, I heard he got married to a local woman and was looking for a place, so I suggested to, who had decided to divorce mother-in-law. That was a plan to sell the apartment where mother-in-law and Alex lived to Chris, moving them out without their knowledge. This way, father-in-law wouldn't have to worry about his new address being known to them. Of course, I've already canceled the lease on the apartment I was supposed to live in with Alex and moved elsewhere. Alex and mother-in-law's belongings are in a storage unit. Real estate transactions aren't simple, so the apartment's title is still under father-in-law's name. But after hearing my tragic story, Chris was outraged and suggested, let's give them a bit of payback, leading to the prank of returning from the honeymoon to find an unknown foreigner living in their home. I never expected them to be so surprised. Coming back from a trip to find a stranger living in your house would surprise anyone. But are you sure it's okay to sell us such a wonderful apartment? Father-in-law nodded gently. Yes. I don't need it anymore. If it can help you and your wife start your new life, that's all I could ask for. Just, my wife and son might cause you trouble again. Leave that to me. Okay. Thanks to him, I felt refreshed for the first time in a while. Afterward, Alex and his mother were in a massive panic. My father-in-law and I ignored the flood of calls to our phones for a whole day. The next day, we met up at a family restaurant, the four of us. Alex and his mother looked haggard, probably from panicking all night. When I said I wanted a divorce, Alex's mouth fell open, and his mother screamed in disbelief. You're crazy. After all we've done for you. What's not to like? You won't find a better mother-in-law than me. Yeah. We've done everything for you, Sophia. The roses, the ring, the fancy restaurants, the wedding, we've arranged it all. I calmly countered their accusations. All of that was your imposition, and I've told you many times I didn't want it. I wanted something Alex thoughtfully picked out for me, even if it was cheap or unfashionable. I wanted you to listen to what I wanted. Such selfishness. If you call that selfishness, then I can't live with you. You. Father-in-law sighed in disappointment at his wife. I also want to end my marriage with her. Dad. Your reckless spending and pushy attitude have reached my limit. I've endured it for Alex's sake, but it was a mistake. Turning Alex into such a monster, I truly owe Sophia an apology. Father. Alex looked tearful at his father's rejection. Sophia, what did I do wrong? I just wanted to make you happy because I love you. You can't say that when you chose to bring your mother on our honeymoon instead of your wife. You only care about yourself and Mom. Maybe you don't even care about your mother that much. After all, you ran away and left her behind yesterday. No! At my words, Alex broke into a sweat. His mother looked up at him in shock. Alex. It's not what it seemed, Mom. I was just scared yesterday. People show their true nature in such moments. I can't build a family with someone who only thinks of themselves. Wait, Sophia! I won't ask for alimony, but you'll have to pay for the honeymoon and the wedding expenses. It was all for you, after all. Wait, Sophia! Let's meet with a lawyer next time. Sophia! My husband's pleading voice didn't touch my heart at all. Though we were married, I was just relieved to see his true nature before we had children. Eventually, my husband and I divorced. It took some time due to his dawdling, but with the help of a lawyer and my father-in-law, we managed to file the divorce papers successfully. The sympathy from my husband's colleagues and boss, who had witnessed his clinginess to his mother at our wedding, was effective. They persuaded him to let me go. The payment for the honeymoon and wedding expenses was contentious, but father-in-law helped by applying the money from selling the family home as a pre-inheritance gift. It took over half a year for the divorce between my mother-in-law and father-in-law to be finalized. Having been a housewife during the marriage and living off father-in-law's wealth, mother-in-law clung desperately to him. However, as the legal battle dragged on and the expenses mounted, eating into their assets, mother-in-law reluctantly agreed to sign the divorce papers, splitting the assets in half. Afterward, my ex-husband started living with his mother and remarried a young woman his mother approved of. She was someone with a similar penchant for spending. My ex-husband, being a civil servant, had a stable salary but was not a high earner. With both women spending more than double my ex-husband's monthly income, their household finances quickly spiraled into chaos. Rumors of being a mommy's boy worsened his situation at work, and unable to cope with the harsh reality, he had a breakdown and resigned. Their debts kept growing, and eventually, my former mother-in-law resorted to borrowing money from unsafe places. Despite their dire situation, I doubted they'd seek help or change their ways, given their stubbornness. Meanwhile, I threw myself into my work and even obtained my midwifery certification. I recently delivered the baby of Chris and his wife. I was laughing as he declared, I'll raise this child to be a great pirate king." Recalling my new boyfriend's gift of earrings, I asked him, "Did you pick these out yourself?" And he was puzzled. He made a warm smile as he assured me he chose them because he thought I'd like them. Imagining him pondering over the gift made it all the more precious. Wearing those earrings, I enjoy planning our outings, living each day with joy and purpose.